So the bill is a modular bill which says that you can have 1 to 10 corporations.
We have seen it fail in Delhi.
There are concerns when you divide the civic area into multiple corporations.
Will it also not create red tapeism at different levels?
This actually will make Bangalore's governance more people-friendly.
So in a significant step, the state government has received a draft of the Greater Bengaluru Governance Bill 2024 that was drafted by Brand Bengaluru Committee. So how, if this bill is implemented, so this bill proposes basically many changes, radical changes. So if this implemented, what this bill proposes for governing the city, what structure will change?
So essentially one of the major, most hotly contested proposal of this bill is to divide BBMP, the present Brand Bengaluru Mahanagarapalike, into multiple corporations. So this is not the first time that this is coming up. Earlier in 2015, the same committee, which was then called BBMP Restructuring Committee, had put out a report, and then in 2018 again a bill. Then the bill had proposed trifurcation of BBMP into 3 corporations. So then it did not pass through. Now it has come back again. So it essentially provides for a 3-tier governance structure for Bengaluru, which is not there presently. Presently, we have a ward committee at the ward level and the corporation, right? So now it becomes a 3-tier governance structure. We will have a ward committee, then we will have multiple corporations. So the bill is a modular bill which says that you can have 1 to 10 corporations with around 400 wards. So it is for the government to choose how many corporations that it needs. It can even go with 1 corporation or multiple corporations. So now, right now, the sources say that they are considering 5 corporations. So there will be ward committee, and then there will be 5 corporations at the mid-level. So since the civic area will be not governed by 1 single corporation, there will be a need for integration of these 5 corporations to govern the city. So the bill proposes a new third tier of governance, which is under this bill. It is called the Greater Bengaluru Authority. It will be led by the Chief Minister and co-chaired by whoever is the Bengaluru Development Minister.
Presently D.K. Shivakumar.
Yes. So the whole point of GBA is that it brings all the parastatals on one platform for the first time. So right now BBMP handles only roads, solid waste, public health, some functions, municipal functions. But water, sewerage, electricity, planning, transport are all with independent parastatals which come directly under the state government. So the Greater Bengaluru Authority, as it is conceived now under this bill, will bring all the parastatals to one platform, along with mayors of these 5 or whatever the number, multiple corporations, representatives from Zilla Panchayats and other local bodies, which will make up the GBA. So you'll have a 3-tier structure where the GBA will guide and integrate the functions of these multiple corporations at the pan-city level. And you'll have 5 independent, 5 or whatever the number, independent multiple corporations, which will work and govern those independent areas. And in each corporation, each ward will have a ward committee. So this is the broader structure proposed by the
What is the scope for number of wards in the draft bill?
It can go up to 400. Right now it is 225. It can go up to 400.
So many have reservations about this multiple corporations because we have seen it fail in Delhi.
See, the thing is, the reservations about multiple corporations are on several aspects. I'll first handle the governance part. In governance, what many people argue is when you do multiple corporations, there will be a economic disparity between multiple corporations. One corporation which probably gets the IT corridor in the city will collect more revenue, and some corporation which is in the other end of the city may not even collect 10% of the revenue what the other corporation collects.
Top corporation
collects. Yeah. So this is what actually happened in Delhi when they trifurcated into 3. the economic disparity between these three corporations was so huge that one corporation collected almost 80% of the revenue, what was there earlier, and the other two were stuck with absolutely no income and revenue. So this is one problem. The other problem is what many people say is that one is the problem of this economic disparity. The other problem is there are other concerns like demography. So if you consider Bengaluru as the capital of Karnataka, which is a Kannada speaking state, so there are concerns when you divide the civic area into multiple corporations. It may end up with creating some corporations with a lower demography of Kannadigas. So these are some of the other concerns. Then there is a rhetorical point that you should not divide Kempegowda's Bengaluru. While many have argued, who proposed to do multiple corporations, many have argued that we are not dividing Bengaluru, we are actually dividing only BBMP. And BBMP is not Bengaluru. While it still will have a Greater Bengaluru Authority, which will be a integrating layer at the pan-city level. So it doesn't amount to dividing Bengaluru. It only amounts to dividing the city's corporation. Many global cities have multiple corporations. Mumbai has, London has. So multiple civic corporations is common across mega cities. So regarding economic disparity, the bill proposes that the GBA, the Greater Bengaluru Authority, actually works to bring in equity between these multiple corporations through state government grants and union government grants. Presently, the BBMP receives a lot of state government and union government grants for capital expenditure, apart from its own revenue, which is mainly property tax. So the GBA proposes that whichever corporation has a good revenue base of its own will probably get less grants from the state and union governments, and whichever corporation, the poorer will get more grants, thereby bringing in an equity. So what the problem with the Delhi model was that there was no integration layer, the apex layer at the top. So there was no equity that was brought in between the corporations. It is not just about equity. There are many other issues what GBA will do, which was not there in the Delhi model. For instance, there are many issues like major arterial roads, stormwater drains, larger projects, which may cut across the boundaries of multiple corporations. So all these things will now be handled by the GBA according to the bill. So only those aspects which are contained within the corporation limits, one corporation, only those will be handled by the individual corporations. And anything which has to do with inter-corporation integration and these things will be handled by the GBA directly. So there is a division of powers, there is integration. So this GBA will address the failures in the Delhi model, why it failed. So learning from the Delhi model, this GBA has been designed. That is what those who are batting for this bill say.
So if this bill implemented, so how will it impact the people?
Actually, if you go back in time a bit, the Bangalore Mahanagarapalike was just around 225 square kilometers till 2007. So in 2007-8, it became Brihad Bangalore Mahanagarapalike and it ballooned to around 709 square kilometers. So we added nearly 500 square kilometers in 2007-8 to the earlier BMP what we had. That is because the areas outside the earlier BMP had grown, it had become urbanized. All the IT corridor came outside the BMP limits. So we municipalized those areas and we brought it in under the BBMP and now it is part of the civic limits. It should have happened. So now after say around 15 years, those on the outskirts, the newly added areas, they say that, for example, people in Madhavpura especially, which houses the IT corridor, they have always been arguing for a separate corporation because they say if they had a separate corporation, then they have a higher revenue base and they can address their own local concerns more efficiently. One, and they need not come to the corporation head office, which is in NR Square, for every small thing. So this is essentially a political and bureaucratic decentralization. The more you decentralize, the more administration will go nearer to the people. From 225 wards right now, earlier it was 198. If you increase 198 to 400, so the average size of a ward is almost halved. So every service will go nearer to the people.
That's true, but will it also not create red tapeism at different levels?
No, the thing is, if it is only bureaucratic, it will create red tapeism. But it is also political decentralization coupled with bureaucratic decentralization. So your corporator will also be, your councillor will also be much more representative. For instance, there are wards in Bangalore right now where the population is as big as an assembly constituency. It has crossed even 1 lakh. So the more you decentralize politically, the more bureaucratically also you decentralize, and the more the administration goes nearer to the people. And the people of a particular area will have more autonomy to address local concerns through a smaller corporation than in a larger BBMP where maybe your concerns may not even be heard in the larger setup. That is the argument that this actually will make Bangalore's governance more people-friendly. That is the argument.
Yeah, given that this, this is not the first effort the government is doing. So this was done earlier also, but it was failed. So what are the challenges that government has to face before passing this bill in the assembly?
Like I said earlier, this was attempted in 2015 once. A bill was passed in the assembly and it was defeated in the council because both BJP and JDS oppose multiple corporation or splitting BBMP. So then it went to the governor and governor sent it to president and the bill
this was
died.
in 2018?
Yes. And the bill died a slow death. Then the government changed. Now again Congress has come and again they have brought it back. So if you see, this seems to be, Congress seems to be arguing for this solution, while the opposition BJP and JDS have been arguing for a more bureaucratic decentralization and not a political decentralization. So BJP, which was in power recently, they replaced the Karnataka Municipal Corporations Act and brought in a new dedicated Brand Bengaluru Mahanagarapalike Act 2020. So that essentially tries to decentralize through zonal committees and other mechanisms, tries to bring in bureaucratic decentralization to fix Bengaluru's governance, while it is under a single corporation, single mayor, single commissioner. So while the opposition is arguing for a bureaucratic decentralization and keeping Bengaluru as whole integrated, the Congress has consistently been arguing, at least for 9 years now, has consistently been arguing for both political and bureaucratic decentralization, but with a apex layer which integrates so that the brand of the city is retained. It doesn't become completely individual corporations. It doesn't become fragmented. So the Greater Bengaluru Authority will integrate what the splitting of the BBMP into multiple corporations actually disintegrates or decentralizes. So going ahead also, right now BJP has again said that they will oppose splitting of the BBMP. So they are unlikely to support the bill in the assembly. In council, though in assembly, the ruling government has good numbers, but in the council, they still don't have a majority. So it needs to be seen how this bill goes through further. But it is not easy for this bill to be implemented in the short term.
So the bill is likely to be tabled in the upcoming assembly sessions. So let's see what is in store for Bangalore. Will it remain as BBMP or will it move into a radical change?
Yes.